having said all this, seeing how dangerous these plastics are, let's look at the innovations and then see what are there any recent innovations that have been made to make plastics safer for human beings and environment?
Good question. There are a lot of innovations in the plastic industry. The unfortunate aspect of it is that the innovations are not towards the plastic itself, as in avoiding plastics. The innovations are more towards using, for example, using AI, a robot to segregate the plastics. Like the robot is able to pick the plastics from a bunch of waste. So it can take out all the plastic ones in the waste and then separate them and then do the recycling of it separately. And there are also innovations in the area of using bacteria to eat the plastics. So you can have a lot of plastics there. You introduce these bacteria onto the plastics, and within an hour, they've eaten almost all of it. So it's more like innovation towards dealing with the end product of the plastics. But it is not really about the plastic itself as an innovation to make the plastic good enough. There are other innovations where instead of this plastic, there are some companies that are producing in paper. So you can have a paper where the water is in the paper. So you can drink from the paper. The water can be contained within the paper. So that innovation is also okay. Then there's that also we call seaweed, for example, which is edible. You can eat it. So some are producing it for packaging. So you can eat your food and eat the packaging too. Yes. So that in that case, you don't really have to throw away bottle or anything to go. Yes.
So you are buying the water and you are buying food as well.
Yes, that kind. The only difficulty is that it makes it more expensive. It makes it more expensive. So if, for instance, they'll produce this at 1 city, if they use seaweed to do it, you are talking about 5 cities, 10 cities. And most people will definitely not buy. You and I know that when you go and this one is 1 city and that one is 10 cities, you will definitely go and buy this one and then the consequence.
But in as much as our health is also related, I think we might consider buying the ones with the seaweed. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, it would have been okay, but even those who are producing it, the manufacturers, they themselves will look at the cost of production and think that and look at the market, their target market. If my target market is, let's say, Ghana, and 80% of Ghanaians will go and buy the 1 CD one, why would I produce for them? I won't. I will actually pretend I don't know that one even exists, and then keep producing the one that they will buy, and I make my money and I go away. Yeah.
That's true. So, Tom, I have one. Bioplastic and plant-based land, are they safe as they are marketed out there?
Yes, they are. Really, if they are as I told you, for instance, the seaweed, they are a form of bioplastics. They can be eaten and they are safe to eat. But the question is, as I said earlier, most of these companies, because of the sustainability requirements, here in Ghana, it is not so much a big deal. But outside there, people who buy products look out for products that are sustainable. They look out for if you are producing, they want to be sure your product is sustainable. So because of the fact that the customers or the clients are looking out for sustainable products, most of these companies also are advertising their product as sustainable products. So it might not be biodegradable, but he will put on the label that my product is biodegradable. So you will go and buy thinking that really it is biodegradable, but it might not be because you are not there to know whether what he's saying is the truth. Yes. So even though most people are trying to make it look like they are producing sustainable products, they really are not. And in most cases, they brand themselves as sustainable champions, but they really are not. Yeah, and there's been actually many lawsuits against a lot of this, including Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Co, where they advertise that they are doing this, but in actual fact, that wasn't what they are doing. So really, really, it might not be what they say they are. Many of the companies are advertising their sustainability profile when really that is not what they are into. Yeah.
But Doctor, looking at Thailand, okay, we buy almost everything in plastics. Almost everything that we consume are in plastic. What should the consumer look out for on the label or the material we are trying to choose a safer plastic for? What should we look out?
Good question. Now the thing is this. Left to me as an advocate or as a sustainability champion, I would have wished there are no plastics in the first place. I would have wished we can just ban plastics and then be able to use other sustainable means. Unfortunately, and let's face it as it is, the government is not able to ban the plastics. The manufacturers of the plastic themselves are not going to stop producing the plastics if they are not forced to stop. And it's not only in Ghana here. Let me be straight about that. Worldwide, because if it is so, Coca-Cola would have been stopped by now. But worldwide, even in Europe and other American, they still are not able to ban them because they have such influence. That's the truth. They influence a lot of factors in the world, and so it will be difficult to stop them. But as an individual, when you are going to buy, for instance, if you want to buy this bottle and take, you first of all must look out for this bottle and the lines in it. When you look at this, you see those lines in it.
Yes.
The lines are not for life. They are what we call. It's not fashion. It is. It is for a purpose. It is to help you collapse the bottle when you finish drinking the water.
Okay.
So after drinking, when you open it, you can easily hold it this way and collapse it this way. You see? So it becomes very small, and then you clock it. This makes it so easy. And then when you do it this way, well, if you're at a function, at a program, any event, and you finish drinking, and you do it this way, you can easily put this in your bag.
Yes.
Without throwing it away. So in a way, it sets you up to avoid throwing it into the environment. So that is actually the reason for the lines in all the bottles. So most of the bottles, according to the research I did, most of the Ghanaian bottles truthfully have these lines in them. Most of them. They try to make it, even if it's not just as many as this one, all the other ones have ways of making it easier for you to collapse it. Yes. Then secondly, you will have to have the weight of this bottle very low. As in the US one, or during my research, the US bottle I used was 8 grams. 8 grams. Here in Ghana, the lowest weight of all the bottles, and I assembled about 250 bottles. The lightest one was 13 grams. Lightest, which is a bit even still thicker than that of the US bottle. So we still can do something about it. We still can lower the weight. Lowering the weight has an effect on the environment in the sense that these bottles, they are produced in millions. Okay. One company, let's say Voltaic or Belapa or any of those companies, in their factories, some produce as much as 1 million bottles in one day. In one day. So if you have 1 million of these and you are reducing the size to 8, let's say yours was 15, and you reduce it to 8, you possibly have halved it. That means if you are producing 1 million, you have half the weight of that 1 million into the environment. You get it? So it is right to make these bottles lighter, make it so light such that it becomes the amount that will be found in the environment will be thin enough, and that means it will decompose quicker than it will be of bigger. And there were bigger bottles, in fact, for even the water ones. I did for both water and the fruit ones, the fizzy drinks ones. Even for water, there were some that were measuring as much as 25 grams.
That's it.
It tells you that I don't know if it's out of lack of it's lack of knowledge of the bottle size, because some of these companies, truthfully, they just go in there, then they start production. So their bottles may be very heavy and they are not okay for the environment. So most of the people must try, as in their course of doing their buying, you must look out for bottles that are light. Those that are not light, don't try. Thankfully, my research shows that most of the four main companies in Ghana that are heavy producers of these bottles, almost all of them, their bottles were environmentally friendly. Their sizes were not too high, even though we still haven't reached the US levels. We are doing good, and the sizes are good to go. Yeah.
That's it.